Hello, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I am Lena, this is Lena's Bookshelf, and I make videos on a variety of bookish content. And today we are going to be reacting to some bookish unpopular opinions. So over on my Instagram and also on my YouTube channel, the community tab part, I asked for your bookish unpopular opinions, and some of you got pretty spicy with these. So we're just gonna go through them and talk about them and kind of share some of my thoughts if I agree or if I disagree. And just to give the general disclaimer, these are all in good fun. One of the best things about books is that we all have different opinions, so we're not gonna take this too seriously, and if I disagree with you, I'm sorry, but I respect everybody's opinion. Everybody's opinion is valid. I just thought this would be kind of a fun way to hear some of your bookish unpopular opinions and see how I fall within those. Okay, so I saw a couple that said that Goodreads is better than StoryGraph, and then I saw a couple that was StoryGraph is better than Goodreads. I personally still think that Goodreads is a lot more user-friendly. Now, I do like the graphs that the StoryGraph has, and I do, at the end of the month, I have been putting my books in there to get those monthly graphs. But just for the day-to-day, to find books, to read reviews, and things like that, Goodreads is easier. Now, recently they've had some issues with the app crashing and the site being down and stuff, but overall, it's definitely a larger platform, and there's definitely, you can find the information much easier. Sometimes I feel like it's a lot harder for me to find the information I'm looking for on the StoryGraph. So I will probably continue to use both, but mainly Goodreads and then StoryGraph for my monthly graphs and data and things like that. Next, there was a couple Colleen Hoover haters. Someone said Colleen Hoover is trash, and someone else said Colleen Hoover writes like a fourth grader. I am kind of indifferent to Colleen Hoover. I don't really feel like she's an author that I have to read everything from. I don't feel like she's an auto-buy author. I feel like at this point I've read all the Colleen Hoover books that I am interested in reading, and if she writes another like romantic thriller or paranormal romance, then I might pick it up. But I feel like a lot of her books, they just kind of fall flat for me. And I think part of it is because of the hype behind it. I think that Colleen Hoover's writing style is easy for somebody who doesn't read a whole lot, somebody who maybe just reads romance or just reads Colleen Hoover. It's a little bit easier to understand, but it's not particularly wonderful writing, I don't think. All right, Kelsey, you're coming at me with some of these. First, Kelsey said, Comfort Me with Apples is the greatest, and heck to the no. That book is a dumpster fire. Complete trash. But we know this already. If you've been on my channel for even a small amount of time, you know that Comfort Me with Apples is on my hit list. But then she also said, women facing away on covers needs to stop. And honestly, that doesn't bother me. I feel like that is a pretty typical historical fiction thing and pretty typical of like thrillers too. And it doesn't really bother me too much. I don't know. I feel like it can be well done. So that one I'm kind of indifferent about. To me, I'm not really a cover person. Like there's some things that I will keep just because of the cover, but there's very few things that I would buy just because of the cover or own multiples of one book just because it has a new cover. So to me, covers are neither here nor there. Okay, now we get into some tea. So this person said, listening to audiobooks shouldn't count towards the end of the year or monthly book counts. If so, then I should be able to count every 8 hours of true crime podcasts as a book. Which honestly, I mean, go for it. I mean, true crime, like I read true crime books. I read about one true crime book a month, and those take me about 8 hours to get through on audio. So yeah, I think that that's fine. Honestly, I am of the opinion that audiobooks are books, and I spend just as much time listening to audiobooks as I do reading books. And so I definitely count audiobooks towards my yearly goal. I do not count podcasts, but I mean, honestly, you could. I mean, there's no rules, right? It's not that serious. We can kind of log what we want to log in our yearly count. I don't personally log like cooking books, but I read about 3 or 4 cookbooks from start to finish every year. And I have some like, what do they call those? Coffee table books that I read from time to time. And I don't really count those towards my yearly goal, but I could if I wanted to. So I think it's just whatever works within your reading tastes and your style. I think it's not that serious. And I think count it if you want to, or don't count it. So I know some people that don't count audiobooks, and I know some people that do. I know a lot of people that do. So I just think it's not that serious. And I think that, yeah, sure, if you want to count 8 podcasts as one book, you do you, girl, because honestly, it's probably taking as much time and you're probably learning just as much as if you read an 8-hour true crime book. So that one I can see both sides. But I personally do log audiobooks towards my reading goal every year. Toys and dolls are not creepy. I kind of agree with that. I don't really find dolls or toys or clowns creepy. I never really have, but I also grew up around dolls. I grew up around my own dolls, and my mother has some antique dolls. So dolls have always been in my house, in my room, and it never really bothered me. So yeah, that I don't really get behind. It was kind of creepy in Just Like Mother that they would like treat the doll as an actual human person, kind of like that movie The Boy. Those were like a little bit creepy, but more so the part I was creeped out about was the psychology behind the people treating the toys and the dolls that way, more so than the doll itself, if that made sense. All right, Gwen's coming in hot with one I totally agree with. All romance does not have to have a happy ending. Yes, say it louder for the people in the back. I love messy endings. I definitely don't think that a romance always has to have a happy ending because that's not real life. However, I do understand the want for that typical formulaic romance where it's happily ever after. I do think that there's a time and place for that, but I don't think it always has to be that way. I think there are plenty of readers out there that are fine with a messy ending and are fine with a sad ending. And honestly, those endings are what stay with me a lot more so than happy endings. Because that's not always real life. We don't always know what happens at the end. We don't always get to see that the ending was happy or it wasn't. So that's part of why I'm okay with ambiguous endings. I'm okay with messy endings. I'm okay with sad endings. Like, I love it. I think it's more realistic. It makes the whole story overall more believable to me. So I thought The Night Circus was beyond boring. Honestly, me too. I don't see the hype in that one. Somebody else said that Piranesi was overrated. Haven't read that one, so I can't speak to that one. But someone else said The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo is too overhyped. And I will agree. I haven't even read it, and I have no interest because it's overhyped. Also, because it was so predictable. I guessed the ending, and I haven't even read it. Like, I was with a group of friends, and we were talking about it, and they were like, oh, but Lainey, you'll have to read it. Like, here's the synopsis. And they told me the synopsis, and they were like, and there's this great twist. And I was like, what? Is the twist this? And they were like, yeah, it is. Like, that's such an obvious twist. Like that. Anyways, so I guessed the twist without having even read the book. So I don't plan on picking up the book. I definitely have heard that it's overhyped. So I kind of feel like Taylor Jenkins Reid in general is a little bit overhyped. So sorry to my friends that love Taylor Jenkins Reid. Somebody said, Babel is overhyped or I'm just too stupid to get it. So off to the book exchange you go for some store credit. That's another one that I feel like a lot of people had like high hopes for and then were just really confused by. I also have not read that one, but I don't really plan on it. Somebody else also said that The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue was overhyped. Again, I haven't read it, but I have heard that as well. I've heard that people love it, but I've also heard people say it's a little bit overhyped. Somebody said To Kill a Mockingbird was overhyped, and honestly, I love that one. It's a classic. I love classics. I know there's a lot of people who can't get down with classics, and To Kill a Mockingbird is definitely one that I enjoyed. Now, there's a second, almost like a sequel to Kill a Mockingbird, and that was not good. It was so boring, and it basically did nothing. So the second one I would agree with, but To Kill a Mockingbird, I definitely think it has a place in literary history, and I think that it definitely can teach people a lot. I think it's good that people read it in school, and I think it's good that it's still talked about. I think it's good that it's still being remade from time to time. So that's one I disagree with. I don't think that it's too overhyped. I think that it gets the amount of hype it deserves, and I think it just goes to show how hype doesn't have to die down. because look how old that book is and people are still saying, oh, it's overhyped. Oh, it's overhyped. The fact that people are still saying that says a lot, I feel like. All right, here we go. Reese Witherspoon book clubs aren't that great. This one I agree with. I don't think I've ever given a Reese's book club more than 3 stars. Actually, that's a lie because True Biz I gave 4 stars. But other than True Biz, I think that's the highest rated Reese's book club pick that I've ever read. So I've DNF'd a couple and I've given a couple 3 and 2 stars. So I kind of think I'm done with Reese's book club, although I said that. And then the one about like the house in the pines or whatever, the Anna Reyes book, I am interested in. And I keep trying to tell myself like, Lena, you're not going to like it because it's a Reese's book club pick and you don't usually like those, so don't bother. But this person said, I love sci-fi but without aliens, which I agree with. I think sci-fi doesn't have to have aliens in it. I like romance, but not billionaires with secret babies trope, which I agree. That trope is so overdone, not just in romance books, but also in thrillers. Honestly, with a thriller or a romance, if there's a millionaire with a secret love child, or if the husband cheats on his wife and that's the like plot twist, then I am kind of checked out at that point with the book. I never seem to like those tropes in books. They never seem to work well for me. So that one I agree with. I'm sick of celebrity memoirs complaining about being rich and famous. That one I agree with. The celebrity memoirs that I like are the ones where like they came from nothing and they're like telling you how they got to where they are, how they overcame their trauma and got to where they are today. Or ones that are like survivalist memoirs and things like that. I'm not really a huge fan of most celebrity memoirs, unless it's something where they had like some intense trauma in their childhood. Like I'm Glad My Mom Died by Jeanette McCurdy. That one did not feel at all like a rich person complaining about being rich and famous, but I definitely have read some celebrity memoirs that do. So I generally steer away from celebrity memoirs unless I know there's like that big aspect of trauma that they had to overcome in their lifetime. And then the last unpopular opinion is those darn stickers on the books. This person says they like them. They like knowing like which book club endorses them, if it's Read with Jenna, if it's Book of the Month, whatever. And Book of the Month, we know, if you've been around my channel, you know that I don't really care about the Book of the Month copies looking different because I store them all together. So I'm fine with the fact that they say Book of the Month. But yeah, I don't really like when they have the Read with Jenna or Reese's Book Club or whatever. Like who the heck even is Jenna? Like it looks like a sticker and I just want to take it off. And so yeah, I could do without those, honestly. I feel like it takes away from the cover. Now, if it's a medal, that's a different thing. If it's like a award or something, that's a little bit different. But I don't need a bunch of books that say Reese Witherspoon or Oprah or Jenna. I just don't. Okay, that is all of the bookish unpopular opinions that I'm going to talk about today. Thank you for those that submitted your unpopular opinions, spicy or not. Hopefully I didn't piss anybody off with this video. But if you like this type of video, let me know in the comments down below. I'd be happy to do more like this. Please hit that subscribe button. It really helps out my channel, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!